That's it. Do you want to do the introduction for the second segment for
Yeah.
us, please, bro?
Welcome back to our second segment of our weekly football podcast called The Football Referee. I'm Trevor Gear and he calls me bruv.
And I'm Emmy Hickins, and he calls me Cuz. Welcome to the second segment of the football referee. Now, the fastest goal recorded in a Community Shield Cup. Can you remember who scored it?
Well, presumably, I would have thought we're talking about the one on Sunday. I might be wrong, but and that was I can see him. I can't remember his name. Um, Long-haired
Calafiori.
guy. Yeah,
Uh,
absolutely. Califieri. Yeah, a good
Calafiori,
goal.
yeah.
Very quick. Very, very quick, wasn't it?
It was a very good goal. Yeah, I think he's going to be dangerous for Arsenal going forward, or dangerous for other teams playing for Arsenal. Um,
Mm.
I think it's got what it takes to be there. Now, um, this one is by Cristiano Ronaldo on potentially having more children in the future. And he says, I will never say never. And then his wife, Georgina, says another baby now will be overbooking our home. When the youngest are 15 and 16, we'll still be young, so why not? I can't imagine myself without children. So we'll see. Footballers having many children, is it an investment game?
How many has he got, Ronaldo?
So let's see. It's got one, two, three, four. It's
Is
got
it?
four. It's got four at the moment.
Well, and he's not ruling out having more.
He's not ruling out having more. Do you think they're all following his footstep? Footballers.
Sometimes it happens, doesn't it? And sometimes it doesn't. I think in the case, let's take the case of David Beckham, his
Hmm.
oldest son, Brooklyn, I believe was on Arsenal's books for a while when he was in his teens a few years ago, and that didn't work out. And I believe he's got three boys and a girl, isn't he? So one of the other ones, it might be Romeo,
Hmm.
was also on the books, possibly of Brentford. That seems to ring a bell, but seemed to be looking at a football career. But I don't think that materialised either into anything else. It's a difficult one because you're bringing up the whole subject of what they call nepo babies, the old nepotism bit, a famous parent, um, in theory, can make it a lot easier for an offspring to get into a particular field of endeavor, because clearly they've got a connection, and that does happen. And it probably is frustrating for those people who have made success
Hmm.
in whatever their field to keep being told or hearing that they are only successful because they had a famous parent either in the same field or something different. And I can well understand, I think, that frustration because everyone has to sort of make the effort
Hmm.
to do it themselves, even if you do get a leg up initially. It's what you said earlier that, and we talked about passion, players turning up, doing their minimum training and then going off home doing something else. And that doesn't work for people. So even if you're a nepo baby, if you get that initial stepping stone,
Hmm.
you're then out there in many ways on your own, especially if it's like in acting, sports, all sorts of things. You don't just become a great tennis player because
Yeah.
you're an Epo baby. You may have I mean, again, I can't really think of many examples. Sure, there are examples of children, of tennis players who had famous tennis player parents, but it doesn't often happen because the commitment, as we probably know, as we've talked about for footballers, the
Hmm.
commitment you need to do anything, as I said before, whatever you are, be a good one. The commitment to really become successful
Yeah.
in your sphere of, whatever you're looking at to do, it's got to be 110% commitment. So Nepo baby really means nothing when it comes to ultimately succeeding. And if you actually look upon that, take that forward a bit, and one of
Mm,
Ronaldo's children becoming a great footballer in their own right, it's not impossible. It could be his daughter if he's got a daughter. She could do it nowadays. It's not impossible, but I suspect it's unlikely. I suspect it's unlikely because you have to still have that drive within yourself. And possibly, if you're born to particularly wealthy parents, successful parents in whatever they do,
mm,
it's almost a given, not necessarily, but almost a given that those parents are going to make life easier for you than for other people who don't have those advantages or that wealth in the background. So that in itself is almost a disadvantage to that nepo baby because they're not going to fully understand the need for really hard work. A great example, I think, of how to do it properly
mm,
is Paul McCartney and his wife Linda, who died some years ago. Of course,
mm,
he's married now to somebody called Nancy, I believe. But they have three children of their own, plus Heather, who was Linda's from her first marriage.
mm,
But he had three McCartney kids, and he's got another one when he was married to Heather Mills. Now, I'm not really talking about them. What I'm saying is three who they brought up specifically a son and two daughters, James and Mary and Stella. They
mm,
actually they lived in those days down at a place called Peasmarsh on the south coast, quite close to um, the Hastings area. And they actually went, believe it or not, to a comprehensive school. They,
mm,
probably most Nepo babies would go to expensive private schools, but they didn't. Paul and Linda, by all accounts, wanted to give them as ordinary life as possible. And they all
mm,
went to private schools. They weren't, by things you read and so on, they weren't lavished upon with the wealth that McCartney had and has. And
mm,
when you look at it now, we take Stella, she's been an incredibly successful designer, clothes designer. I mean, her clothes are, who are you wearing? Oh, it's Stella McCartney. She's there in her own right. So
mm,
although you could say, well, she's a nepo baby, she's actually made it because clearly she's had the passion to do that. I think
mm,
Mary has been a very well known and well thought of photographer. James does play and record. Again, he's obviously had a leg up on that. But they were treated like, as far as was possible, normal people. Now, whether Ronaldo will be treating his four kids, whether
mm,
they're boys or girls,
mm,
with the same, I want to give them a natural upbringing because what that will give them is a true sense of value, to what things are worth. And then it takes hard work to achieve what you want to achieve.
mm,
If you mollycoddle your kids, and it must be the biggest instinct in the world to want to make your children have an easier life. Must be
mm,
because you want their lives to be easier than your own was. Then, in some ways, they're not going to get the benefit of understanding the real value of what it takes to become successful. So, to answer your question, if I was asked to make a decision and not sit on the fence, I would
yeah,
doubt, not because the way he treats his kids, Ronaldo, but I would doubt any one of them will follow in his footsteps, partly because he, like Messi, was phenomenally great as a footballer. And
yeah,
it'd be very unlikely to get two Ronaldos or two Messis in the same family because they got something so extra special that it would be very hard to think that's been genetically passed on. But, strange things happen, I suppose.
it does, yeah, yeah. Well, let's hope his children, choose their own path. Because it'd be sad if they just did it because daddy wants them to do it, you know.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, if it's sad. Now, the next one is Carlos Baliba of Brighton. So Carlos Baliba, I believe United actually chased him. They wanted to get him even when what's his name? Ruben Amorim was there, but they didn't succeed. Now they're going after him again. So it's a United have offered around 70 million euros plus 6 million euros, um, which remains below Brighton's valuation. But talks are continuing as all parties work towards an agreement. Is it worth that much? Is it worth, 72, 76 million euros?
Yeah, I mean,
Bali.
I got to say, the only Saliba I've been aware of is the one at Arsenal. Am I correct in saying that they've got somebody of that name?
Oh,
I think
sorry,
I am.
it's not Saliba, it's Baliba, Carlos
Oh,
Baliba.
right, Belieber. Oh,
Yeah,
okay. Yeah,
Baliba
well,
of
I can't give an opinion because I'm not I can't remember seeing him play or kick a ball. So
Brighton.
it sounds an awful lot of money. I mean, how long have Brighton had this guy? Has he come out of their academy or something?
I think he's been playing. I think he's Cameroonian because he did go with
Oh, right.
men to
Okay.
the African Cup of Nations. I believe it was December slash January this year. So um, I don't think they've had him that long. Now I don't know his history. I don't know where he was before. Before being at Brighton. I don't
Brighton.
really know the history, but it's
And what
good
have
to.
Manchester United offered? Did you say 70 million euros?
Yeah, so they've offered 70 million euros plus 6 million euros add-on. No, I remember the lad. He's a great player, but I don't remember him being worth that
Do you know
amount.
what Brighton, what do they value him at?
It says which remains below Brighton's valuation, but it didn't say how much they
No.
valued it for. They must have valued him higher. Or maybe it's because it's United approaching. But I
Yeah.
don't remember I don't remember United paying much for players anyway. I don't
No.
remember that. They never do. They're not like Chelsea. Chelsea is a bit of a they spend on players. They spend reasonably, or I won't say reasonably, 'cause it depends, but they spend quite a lot on players when they offering price. They do offer quite a lot of money, but I don't remember United offering that much. Now, Belieber, like I said, I remember reading an article last transfer window, or maybe the one before, but certainly when Amram was there, Amarim really wanted him. But he couldn't get him at the time before the window then closed. I believe Carrick now wants him, or maybe the United buying team wants him. I don't know.
Mm.
Um, but I don't really see anything spectacular about offering 70 million euros for him, which would be about 60 odd million pounds. Am I
I
correct
mean,
on that?
yeah, you say Man United don't pay that much, but they paid 80 million, I think, for Jadon Sancho, did they?
Sanchez.
So they've been known to do that. But in today's market, there's kind of you could say a number of players may be worth up to maybe 40 million, and then there's another tranche up to maybe 60. But if you're getting into 70 and above,
Mm,
you've got to be looking at a pretty sound footballer. Now, maybe this guy is, but the fact that if 70 million or thereabouts has been offered, or
mm,
76 with the add-ons, and Brighton are saying that's not enough, then they obviously consider they've got a very special footballer there who they must be talking of 85, 90 million. Otherwise,
mm,
if they valued him at 80
mm,
and they're being offered 70, 76, then they're quibbling. So they obviously think he's worth more than that, unless it also has to do with the financial power of Manchester United, as you say. So that's
mm.
one to watch for the rest of this week and next until the window closes on the 1st of September to see if they can do it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's one to watch really. Now the next one is it's funny. It's a funny thing where well depends on the way you look at it. But so Man City sold Rodri for 60 million. Now I don't know if the deal's gone through or not, or but I believe Rodri is already in Barcelona,
Yeah.
Spain. Now they now bought Elliot Anderson for 120 million.
Mm.
Um, wouldn't they have been better if they kept Rodri and paid him that amount? No.
Yeah, but do you not think that basically the point was Rodri knew that Barcelona were interested?
Hmm.
Undoubtedly the footballers' agents talk to others, and so he would have known. And also, at a given point, they all knew that Pep was going.
Yeah.
Rodri's been there for some years, I think, so he wanted to perhaps go back home. I mean, he's Spanish, and who wouldn't? I mean, Barcelona is a great place with the sort of climate that we've had for the last 3 months, which is a real taste of what it is like. And yeah, what's not to like about going back as a footballer to play for Barcelona? So I don't think it was a straight choice, from what I know anyway, or my perception, that oh yeah, we won't let Rodri go, but we won't buy Anderson. On
Hmm.
balance, they probably bought Anderson to replace a player who they knew was either at the end of his contract. Well, he probably wasn't, because they paid 60 million. So he's obviously not at the end of his contract. But
No.
no, they would not have tried to hold on to a player who was determined he wanted to go to one of the best clubs in the world, which
Hmm.
Man City are as well, to be fair. So I don't think it was a choice for Manchester City in those transactions at all.
Yeah. No, I was just thinking, what if they paid Rodri 120 million to stay? You know,
Well,
he just said
yeah, I
it's
mean, again,
120
you
million.
you made the
Yeah,
point. He's in his thirties, isn't he? Now we
yeah,
didn't we say that?
yeah. He's
Is he
30. Yeah,
30, 30 odd?
yeah.
So yeah, he's probably at his peak, maybe just over his peak. Players tend to have another, very often, 4 or 5 years at the top, but they obviously
Hmm.
lose a little bit of pace. Not that that's so vital in midfield.
Hmm.
But no, I don't believe they would. I mean, I think clubs like Manchester City would say he's given us years of brilliant service. He's helped us win all these trophies. So the least we can do is let him, grant his wishes to go back to Spain and to a club like Barcelona. I think there is some decency in football, that they control their players to some degree, but in many respects the players have most of the power. So they're not going to try and hold back somebody who's served them very well for quite a few years.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe you have a point there. Now, Bruno Fernandes is in talks with Manchester United over a new contract, while Galatasaray have offered him 20 million per year. Bruno wants to stay at
Really?
Man
Oh,
United. Yeah.
wow.
Bruno wants to Man United, and the club do not want to sell him. Talks over a new deal are ongoing. Now, there's a place where I read again that he's refused the offer that they made him because he wants more. Let me see if I can find that. Well, anyway, we'll find that. We'll find out in a bit. Bruno Fernandes, 20 million a year. Generous or over Jack.
Well, I mean, it seems to me that players, the salaries now are going through the roof. It's probably like another step forward in top players' salaries, their income, and
Hmm,
maybe managers as well. We've talked before about Oliver Glasner leaving Palace,
hmm.
and I bet he was on a few million a year there. But he's now Nottingham Forest manager on 13 million a year. Now, it's not so many years where managers earned nothing like that.
Yeah.
Clearly, Klopp and Guardiola probably led the way with what they were earning at their respective clubs.
Hmm,
And Premier League managers, Premier League clubs, probably now realise that to secure the services of, one of the big managers or someone they consider good enough, they've got to be offering 1 million a month, i.e., 12 million a year, that sort of
hmm.
stuff. Sometimes they agree to pay the tax on top as well, so it's a net thing. The salaries are enormous, and obviously very much the case with the top footballers. Everybody knows Bruno Fernandes is a very good footballer. He tends to he controls the play and very much at Manchester United. He's a
Mm.
prize asset, so you can see why to prize him away from a club like Manchester United, a club like what is it,
Yeah,
Galatasaray, whatever,
yeah, yeah.
would offer 20 million. I mean, it's phenomenal, phenomenal money. I mean, heading towards 2 million a month. So where does this all end? It's and of course ultimately it means lower performing players will still get big uplifts in what they earn as well. There's so
Yeah.
much money in this, largely, I guess, from the TV companies around the world, here and around the world.
Yeah.
It's a prized national possession in many ways. The Premier League, because it is the most watched sport around the world. And all
Mm.
those companies want a bit of a slice of the action, and they're paying millions or billions to get that. I think this
Yeah.
season, Sky are advertising they've got 1,500 top level football matches on, presumably including the cups and things, or some of the cups. But then
Mm.
there's TNT, or which is now, I can't think what is the name, it's changed to something else, isn't it? Um, but yeah, there's these different companies want slices of the action, so that money goes into football, and much of it goes to the performers, the players. Good luck to them, you've got to say. But we're all paying for it really through our subscriptions, aren't we?
We are, aren't we?
We really are.
That's what I was gonna say. I was just thinking, this lot are making a lot of money because for them to be able to afford to pay players it's ridiculous amounts of money,
Mm,
which is not ridiculous to them. They must be making more than that, way, way, way more than that. So the money
yeah.
must be going up for them to be able to then be able to pay these players these amounts of money. But I say, well, good luck to them,
Mm,
and well played, because it's a business. They're set up to make money, and if they can spread the money around with the players, that's good. But you don't get
yeah.
that many, yeah. But you don't get that many jobs where the owner starts making a lot more money and he decides, you know what, I'm gonna spread it around.
Mm,
You don't get it in football. You
yeah.
know.
Well, yeah, it's that sort of situation, isn't it? But the risk, I think, might be in the future that some clubs in the top league or top leagues around the world, but in the Premier
Mm.
League, they start to outprice their fan base. Because, I
Ah.
mean, I should be going in a couple of weeks' time to see Palace at Fulham. I always
Mm.
enjoy the trip to Craven Cottage. And they've got a fairly new stand, opened a year or so ago. And I believe the season tickets in that stand are £3,000, or they were
Wow.
£3,000 a year. Now, that's a huge amount of money. So, and you could argue that Fulham, sitting nicely by the Thames there, is in quite an affluent area, etc., etc. And obviously, there are
Mm.
cheaper season tickets within their ground.
Mm.
Um, but all the clubs are charging a lot. Now, to be fair to Palace, I don't think they put the price up this season from last year. And
Mm.
so we're still very much within, it's still a lot of money, about £800 for a season ticket is a
Mm.
lot of money by any standards. But when the new stand is there, we know you can bet your bottom dollar that where we sit, we're 5 rows from the front, halfway between the halfway line and the goal. So we got a very prime view of the action where you really hear the players. You're close to the action. It's a great seat. Well,
Mm.
I think it's fair to say when there's a stonking new stand there in 2 or 3 years' time, then those seats won't cost £800 a month. They're going to be significantly much more than that. And as I say, clubs will have to be careful at some stage as they get more money from effectively from the TV companies,
Mm.
etc., who they can pay their players. but
Mm,
they will start to outprice people. You're not going to get a situation where only quite wealthy people are able to go to football, because traditionally football is it's the public's game, isn't it? It always has been a game for the public, and it's tribal. The fans love it. It's a great competition in the Premier League, and if that's diluted, where people are suddenly falling away because they can't afford the tickets, I mean,
mm,
maybe I'm highlighting something that could happen in the next 3 or 4 years, but it will be a shame if they make it too expensive for, as we might say, the person in the street to go and support his or her football team. But anyway,
mm.
the fact is, at the moment, the Premier League is riding high, awash with money, one imagines, and the clubs awash with money can pay that to their players, and that's the way it is.
Yeah, it's grown so big in the last 10 years, really, you know. Because I remember
Yeah,
when, yeah, I remember when I used to say Wayne Rooney was like on £300,000
yeah.
uh, a week or something, or a month. And we used to say, whoa, what sort of
No, it
money
was
is
a
that?
week. It was a week, wasn't it?
Was it a
Yeah.
week? Yeah, it was, you know. And now we're players on more than that a week, you know.
Mm.
It's like, yeah, it's nothing, you know, that this is the going price. And you think, wow. Yeah. Anyway, still on spending, it says Premier League clubs net spend. Would you like to know the highest spender and how much they spend on
Highest
transfer?
spender on what? When last season? When are you talking about?
So, so Premier League net transfer spend this season. So this
Okay.
season that we're going into, yeah. So the highest
Um,
was, yeah, go on, please.
no, it's hard to know really. I mean, I would think Arsenal have got to be up there. Maybe Man City. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, when I saw this list, actually, it does bring up a question for me. I mean, the transfer window is not closed yet,
It's
so
not closed. No,
yeah,
no.
so I don't understand it. But anyway, oh, we'll see. Chelsea, so far, 207 million. They're the highest spender.
207 million or all right, million. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so 207 million pounds, actually. Yeah, so pounds. And the least spenders is Aston Villa at 110, which is in red. I don't know what that means.
Right.
So 110 million, but it's in red. So I don't know if that was minus players that they've sold as well. So
Yeah, I
they've
would
got,
think they've had a net spend. I would think of 200, whatever the figure was.
yeah, 110.
Um, Otherwise, if it was a positive, not red,
Yeah.
then that means they've got in. They've sold for more than they've bought. I would imagine
Ah,
that's what that
so
means.
yeah,
Because of course they're all limited by the new way of financial fair play
that's just
rules of
yeah.
the SCR, aren't they? The squad cost ratio, which
Yeah.
it gets quite complicated. So I won't attempt to describe that now. But interestingly, when you mentioned Chelsea, I know diverting a bit, but
Mm,
Todd Bowley and his counterpart there, his partner, they're
mm.
actually now looking to sell, I believe, their interest in Chelsea. I don't know how. It's only something I saw over this past few days. Um, it has to do with ownership of a sports thing in America. There's been a
Mm.
bit of a disagreement, and what I read was that Todd Bowley and possibly his partner are looking to sell up their stake for rather more than they paid. And I mean that's been the case with the two billionaire owners of Palace. They've got
Mm.
most of the percentage of ownership shares, etc. And they've been kind of looking around for possible buyers. And I think the article I read on this the other day was where a number of American owners are looking to sell up now. I mean, Liverpool have sold, the American owners there have sold either their entire stake or some of it to
Mm.
a new consortium from America, which includes Jeff Bezos, who owns Amazon. He
Right.
looks to be interested in, well, I think he's pretty much done that. He's now got this. not controlling interest, I don't think, but a significant interest in Liverpool. Probably he wants to own the lot. I don't know, but so yeah, there are still buyers there. But certainly in Chelsea's case, it looks like they may have owners who are looking to sell up.
All right. Oh. Well, are you looking to buy, bruv?
Yeah, I was thinking about it. I might do. I thought I'd ask you if you wanted to join me, and we can put in a bid for one of the clubs. Wouldn't it
Not,
be nice? Wouldn't it?
not a chance. Right. Okay. So the next one is the Premier League is introducing three major VAR transparency changes this season. Now, the first one is referee audio. It says fans will be able to hear selected on-field conversations between referees and players after the final whistle.
All right.
I don't know what purpose that would serve. Anyway, let me just finish what the second and third one is. Now it says that the second one is VAR explanations. The Premier League will publish near live explanations for selected VAR incidents on social media. These can include direct quotes from the referee and VAR explaining why a decision was made or why VAR did not intervene. So
Mm.
that's the second one. And then the third one is the KMI panel. For the first time, the verdicts of the key match incident panel will be made public. The panel reviews major refereeing and VAR decisions and decides whether an error was made. Now, the first one, bruv, fans will be able to hear selected on-field conversations between referees and players after whistle. What do you make of that?
Well, I was watching. I think it was the game. I was watching a game briefly, some of it the other night. I think it was a Cardiff game in the Championship. I can't think of who they were playing. It was probably Wrexham, was it? Anyway, it doesn't matter. But a couple of times the ref was sort of talking animatedly to one of the players,
Mm,
and I said actually, I said, why don't we hear what they're saying like they do? I think in rugby, I think that's a game where you hear what the ref is saying. You know, say penalty or whatever he
mm,
says. Because it seems to me there's no good reason why we shouldn't hear what refs actually. I mean, they've got a camera now, a ref cam. We see it from their eye point of view. Why
mm,
shouldn't we know what they say? It's not as if they're going to. Well, I mean, to be fair, I suppose there's probably a lot of bad language, not
mm,
necessarily from the refs, but from
mm,
players, and maybe they feel that if the ref's microphone picked that up, it
mm,
would inhibit players. So, I mean, there's probably good reasons, but as I say, they seem to manage it in rugby and possibly some to some degree in cricket.
mm,
If they're now saying, well, they'll let you hear what the ref and is saying after the end final whistle,
mm,
I've got to say, really, what is the point? I mean, on those occasions where the manager sort of storms out of the bench and goes to the ref to criticise something, that could
mm.
make interesting listening. It could do, but equally, it's. I think, as you said at the beginning, for the most part, players. There's one or two might who have a bit of a moan, but the players come and shake hands with the officials, and the manager does as well. And
Mm.
if we're just going to hear, "Oh, thanks, ref, well played," and all the rest of it, I don't think there's any point.
No.
So I think I'd rather hear what he has to put up with on during the field of play, and what how he responds, because you know probably different refs talk to different players depending on their relationship with that player, and they can say something to one player they wouldn't say to someone else. I just think it would be really interesting to have the ref on audio, not to catch them out, but
Yeah.
why shouldn't we? You know, we can see inside dressing rooms nowadays at half time they do an interview with somebody. Why don't we hear what the ref's got to say? I
Mm.
don't know. Perhaps the refs wouldn't like it themselves. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Well, yeah. Isn't it a big brother? Isn't it becoming like a big brother kind of thing? Where
How do you
every
mean?
every single aspect of their life is now on display, even what they
Yeah.
say. to players.
That's a very good point, to be fair, both for the ref and maybe the players, because when a ref really is angry with a player, I
Mm,
suppose the player understandably would not want to feel humiliated. It's one thing when the
yeah,
ref tells him to shut up or pee off or whatever he might say,
yeah,
but it's something if millions of people watching hear that player criticised like that, and it would happen. Equally, the ref, when the
yeah.
crowd are singing the referees, and I won't say what they say he is, but we all know that, I think, or you're not fit to referee. These things are sung at grounds. If the crowd feels he is having, and there's no she's in the Premier League yet. I think there is in
Mm,
the Championship possibly, but if he's having a bad day,
mm,
you wouldn't want him humiliated by having this audio. So I know what you mean about Big Brother, but I think as big time sport is brought closer and closer to the
mm,
consumer, to us fans, I think it's good. We pay a lot of money, both through our subscriptions to Sky, etc., as well as
mm,
those of us who go to football. We pay a lot of money into the sport. And you could argue that we should be privy to more of the ins and outs of what happens. It makes it much more exciting, not just exciting, but you know, more knowledge is a great thing. You get closer to the sport itself. So yeah, certainly hearing the exchanges with VAR, which sometimes they publish when there's been a problem. But I think
mm.
I'm not saying they should do it every time there's a VAR reference, but sometimes it is really interesting to hear the ref and VAR people talking about a particular one. So you could have a board which decides whether they can turn this one on so the public can hear it or not.
Mm.
Yeah, it's I like the idea of more and more aspects of the game being brought to the fans. I do.
That's, that's gonna be strange when people start swearing on air.
Well, that's probably the big reason why they don't do it,
Yeah.
because you can see sometimes when a player walks away from the ref, you can see what you don't need to be a lip reading expert to see what he's actually just said. So maybe that is the point, that
Yeah.
it would pick up all the sort of rough and what is it all the stuff that could be there in the game of football. I know. I mean, I used to play some years ago.
Mm,
It's a lovely game to play, but it can get heated sometimes. And yeah, there's a lot of bad language flies about, as in probably most sports, I guess. And you
mm,
see it's a bit different, but you see in tennis fairly regularly, you see a player, man or woman, smash their racket on the ground repeatedly till it's in bits out of frustration or anger, whatever. Big time sport must be a hell of a driver for any individual, especially at the top end of
mm.
these things. So, yeah, it's just great to get as close to it as they'll allow us to be.
Yeah. I mean, the one that I would love would be the second one, which is the VRA explanations, where,
Mm,
near live explanations for selected VAR incidents.
yeah,
But then it would be on social media. And I don't understand. I don't really have an answer of an alternative place where we would love to see
no.
it. But social media seems to be, the
Well, I mean,
place that,
they'll probably put it on X or something like that.
right,
Um, that's the main thing. I think that they put it on where people
right,
go to see. If you look at X during most Premier League games, you'll see people commenting not just on the match but on the commentators
yeah,
on the
yeah,
TV and stuff like that. So I think that's probably the sort of place those things would go to.
yeah. Well, I would love to see that because sometimes you see a decision being made and you don't
Mm,
understand why. You just need somebody to tell you,
yeah,
whether it's right or wrong. And the last one, which is the key match incident as well, that's
yeah,
good. That's good. I would like to see, you know, what decisions they admit to being
mm,
wrong, because obviously not all decisions are
yeah,
right.
yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, this is all we've got time for on the second segment of the Football Referee. Join us again next week as we bring you more. Hopefully, we'll have the Premier Leagues already on, so we can bring you more interesting topics from Match Day Live and all that. So yeah, join us next week as we bring you more topics. I've been Emmy Hickins, and he calls me Cos. Oh yeah, he
And
does.
I'm Trevor Gear, and he calls me bruv.
So it's a goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me too.